It's easy to think you know a country from its movies and what you see in the headlines. But today, we're going to peel back the curtain and look beyond the usual images of the United States. We're going to uncover 7 surprising facts that might just change how you see it.
So, when you picture America, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Whatever it is, I'm willing to bet the reality is way more complex and honestly, a lot more fascinating than you might think.
So, we're going to dig into some facts that really challenge the common perceptions, from the languages people speak to the real state of the economy. Okay, let's dive right in.
All right, first up, we're tackling one of the most basic assumptions people make about the US, the language everyone speaks.
It's so easy to just assume that the United States is, at its heart, an English-speaking country. I mean, that makes sense, right? But is that the whole story? Not even close. Okay, get this. The US doesn't actually have an official national language. Crazy, right? Now, it's true that about 80% of the population speaks English, as you can see right there on the chart. But there are over 350 other languages spoken all across the country. That actually makes it one of the most linguistically diverse places on Earth. And this incredible diversity isn't just about language. The whole country is just full of these huge contrasts. And that brings us to our next section, where we're going to dive into some economic and social divides that are, well, pretty surprising. So when you look at America on the world stage, you see this economic powerhouse, right? The world's banker with the biggest military budget on the planet. But the reality, if you actually look at the books, tells a totally different story. The nation is actually the world's largest debtor. Just take a second and look at that number. Let it sink in. We're talking about a national debt of over $30 trillion. It's a figure that's almost impossible to really wrap your head around. So how does a country even get into that much debt? Well, a huge chunk of it comes from selling government bonds, which are basically IOUs. And these are bought by investors and, interestingly, other countries. We're talking major players like China, Japan, and the UK. And this wild contrast between wealth and debt on a national scale, you see the exact same thing mirrored on a personal level. America is known as this land of immense wealth and opportunity, but at the same time, it's grappling with a really significant homelessness crisis. Yeah, in one of the wealthiest nations on Earth, over 600,000 people experience homelessness on any given night. That's a staggering and, frankly, a very sobering statistic. So what's driving this? Well, it's kind of a perfect storm of immense economic pressure. You've got rents that are sky high and a rising cost of living that forces hundreds of thousands of people to have to sleep in their cars, in parks, and in shelters. Okay, so amid all these really serious contrasts, there are some cultural things that really bring people together. And one of the most popular is something surprisingly simple: a deep, passionate love for pizza. I'm not kidding. Americans eat about 3 billion pizzas every single year. That works out to a mind-boggling amount of cheese, sauce, and dough. And a lot of that pizza comes from some of the world's most famous food chains. As you can see here, Domino's, Pizza Hut, and Papa John's have a huge slice of the market. And these American brands have become household names pretty much all across the globe. And this theme of big numbers and big contrasts, it just keeps going when we look at the country's geography. This next section is all about America as a land of extremes. Let's talk about Death Valley in California, a place that absolutely lives up to its name. It's this huge valley surrounded by mountains, which creates what's called a rain shadow, meaning it gets almost zero rain. And yet, despite the extreme heat, millions of tourists visit every year. And when I say extreme heat, I really mean it. Death Valley holds the world record for the highest air temperature ever recorded, a blistering 56.7 degrees Celsius, or 134 degrees Fahrenheit. Just wow. But this land of extremes idea isn't just about the climate. As you can see here, the US is the world's #1 producer of corn and wheat, thanks to some really advanced farming technology. It also ranks 3rd globally in both land area and population, with over 310 million people. For our final section, we're going to look at one of the most recognizable symbols in the entire world, one that represents so many of the ideals America strives for. I'm talking, of course, about the Statue of Liberty. It's an icon you see everywhere, but a lot of people forget it wasn't actually American-made. It was a gift from the people of France way back in 1886, and it has since become this global emblem of freedom. And the sheer scale of this gift is just astounding. The statue stands 305 feet tall and weighs a massive 225 tons. This symbol of a woman holding a torch is so universally recognized that in Urdu, it's known as Azadi Ka Mujazma, which beautifully translates to the Statue of Freedom. So, from its incredible diversity and economic paradoxes to its geographical extremes and iconic symbols, the United States is a nation of profound complexity. And this brings us to a final, thought-provoking question for you. What does America's multifaceted story reveal about the wider world we all live in today?